More insight, more understanding. This is Fox 23 News In Depth with Rick Marino.
Thanks so much for joining us on In Depth. I'm Shay Rozzi. Rick has the night off. Human trafficking, known as modern-day slavery, is the second largest criminal activity in the world, a $150 billion a year industry, according to the International Labor Organization. Right here in Tulsa, there are kids who are trafficked by their own families, oftentimes to pay for drugs. The internet, apps, and online gaming also make it easier than ever for traffickers to reach your child and extort them. That's why organizations like Stand for Justice are so important. I sat down with two women who lead the nonprofit for an unedited interview. Joining me on the program today, Sarah Jane Vegas and Andrea Graver from Stand for Justice, an organization here in Tulsa focused on stopping human trafficking. Now, Sarah Jane, you are the founder and a survivor of trafficking yourself. And Andrea, you have been an advocate for survivors and to shut these operations down. So first, thank you both for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, Sarah Jane, we are going to get personal. You escaped your traffickers in France years ago. So give us a little bit of your story that empowered you and then led you to create Stand for Justice today.
So human trafficking is the exploitation of vulnerability, and women and children are being raped on a daily basis for someone else's profit. And I was a very vulnerable young French girl. I experienced abuse in my mother's womb. I was not even born yet. I experienced sexual abuse as a child, but never told anyone because of the shame. I thought maybe it was my fault, so I kept that quiet. I was a very good student, straight A student, playing basketball, singing and dancing in musical plays, but I was hurting inside, and I grew up without a father. So I had that longing of having, a man in my life and to be loved. And, you watch all this beautiful Hollywood movie and you think, oh, you need a man to be okay and happy. And at the age of 14, I met a boyfriend at church that ended up I started dating him, and I ended up being under domestic violence with him. And I went from being a straight A student to being at the best school in my city, and I'm passing out every day. I fall into anorexia. I lost so much, kilograms, because it's in France, but pounds. And people didn't really see the sign of what was happening. I ended up having to stop going to school. And I ended up leaving my mom's house and staying with him. But then I was trapped in that relationship. I always say that it wasn't my trafficker, but he's the one that taught me how to obey a man and how to be under the submission of someone and do what he wants from you. He kind of trained me to be trafficked. I ended up studying dancing in a club at the age of 17 to try to make money and escape from him. So to hide from him in the weekends, I was dancing at a club in a city next to mine, in a country next to mine. And I just was hiding my money, coming back home, and I had a jewelry box, and I was hiding my money in it, hoping I could escape him. I didn't know where I could go outside of that. Unfortunately, when you enter the clubs like this, you meet the wrong people. And there was traffickers there that I didn't know, and I trusted the wrong people. I ended up being groomed and exploited until at the age of 19, I was locked in a house, sexually abused, drugged in another country than mine. And I only had the underwear they had put on me left. And by the grace of God, I cried out to God, and I told him, if you're real, you're the only one that can help me escape. And I was able to walk in front of my trafficker. I went downstairs, and I was in front of a door that was always locked, and I knew it was always locked. And I told God, if you're real, you're the only one that can help me escape. And the door opened. I ran for my life. Again, no clothes on, just the underwear they had put on me, and ran for my life. I was really scared. I was even scared of law enforcement because I had seen people with law enforcement uniforms in a club in house I was trafficked in. And I had been told that people were judges, so I didn't know who to trust. And I had been told that women had been killed for just giving their phone numbers. So I didn't have physical chains, but I had that fear of like, nah, I got out, they're going to kill me or kill my family, and I didn't know if I could talk to the police. And my mom was able to find me after, and it's a long story, so I'm already saying a lot. But when I had my mom to help me when I got out of the hospital, I had my family and my church community that surrounded me and loved me. They didn't judge me for what had happened to me, and I started to heal. And that's what made me passionate to be, I had all of this, and that's why I'm a healthy woman now. That's why I have a beautiful marriage and children, and I'm a successful person, because I had those things. Many victims here, they have nobody.
And you're very brave. Thank you so much for sharing your story. That was very, very brave of you.
Thank you.
And sadly, a story like yours, well, this happened internationally in France and the neighboring country.
Yes.
Andrea, this is also happening right here in Tulsa.
Yes, it is.
Andrea led an effort to shut down shady massage parlors where human trafficking, sex trafficking was taking place.
Yes.
How did you know about this, and what was the success of the program?
Yeah, well, I've worked for a few different nonprofits fighting trafficking here in Oklahoma. I was first working in education awareness, and through that group I learned of the illicit massage industry, which is a really nationwide problem that we have. There are actually more illicit massage businesses than McDonald's in the nation, and so it's just on every corner, and through that a lot of women are either brought here to our country, or in Tulsa they were being recruited here in Tulsa. So young women, the very first woman that was a victim that I met, she was a college student.
Oh my goodness.
So here trying to pay for tuition, and she was recruited through a website and got into the illicit massage industry and was being trafficked through that. So yeah.
Wow, it's sad, and it's very scary that it's happening right here in our community. Now these women have created Stand for Justice, standforjustice.org, and that's the number 4. And with Stand for Justice, you provide several things for victims to help them on their path to becoming a survivor. So tell me about the crisis care that's offered, the provider network, and then the empowerment program. So we're going to start with crisis care.
So the way we work is that victims of human trafficking in the middle of the exploitation, even if they want to get out, they don't know how, and they have nothing for them. So we help them with all that it takes to guide them into the resources that they need, and help pay for flight tickets if they need to travel out of state. We help with buying clothes, because if they escape, they have nothing for them and their children. So we meet them in the middle of the exploitation to the crisis care. We also help with avoiding re-exploitation, because some women, there's like things that happen in their lives after they have escaped, and they fall again vulnerable to going back into exploitation. So we also respond to those needs, and there's a lot more.
And Andrea, and so she also, Sarah Jane kind of touched on the provider network to make sure they have the resources they need to becoming survivors. And tell us how you help those survivors thrive.
Yeah, well, we want to be that bridge of services, so that women that are in this situation, most of them don't even know that there is help available, or what kinds of quality help there are. And then they have the added element of trust. So because of what we've done, we've gone on outreach, and we also, you know, Sarah Jane shares her story personally, there's trust built. And so then from that point we can say, hey, there's something available in the community for you. And then we're there with them, walking them to those steps, to those shelters, to those service providers that can help them heal. And so, yeah, that's how it happens.
That's great. And next week, Stand for Justice has its very first fundraiser, October 23rd, Justice Cry. It is sold out. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us where the money raised will go.
So it will go to help, you know, victims and their children. The way we're unique at Stand for Justice is that we serve victims of human trafficking, but also their children, because a lot of them have experienced abuse with their moms. And so you really help them not only escape abuse, but completely rebuild their lives. Survivor Empowerment Program is the most beautiful program, because it's something that stays with them as long as they need. Because a lot of time what we saw is that when we were sending them into like shelters or safe houses that we love and we're grateful for them, right? But it's only for a few months or maybe a year. And then after that, they go back into unhealthy communities. So what we do with a survivor empowerment is that we build a healthy community of survivors and leaders and people that are around them doing fun events and just helping them learn how to parent and do classes of business. So they rebuild their lives and thrive. It goes from like, you know, breaking the full cycle of exploitation and seeing them get back everything that was stolen from them. So when you're supporting us, that's where the money is going, to all of our programming. And we see women that have escaped with our help that 4 years ago and now have beautiful jobs, their own homes, their kids are back with them, and so you get to reunite families together and seeing them sober. It's beautiful to see, and that doesn't have a price, like seeing a life completely transformed. It's so beautiful.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to MC your Justice Cry event. I'm honored to do it. It's very important work that you're doing. Thank you both for being here. And if you know someone who needs help escaping human trafficking, or if you would like to get involved and support the organization, you can go for Stand for Justice, stand the number 4 justice.org.